cracked one's armor. I cracked over. They on the right side of that thing. They both are cracked.
That's it.
Yeah.
The MP5 is hidden. All right, YouTube, check it out, man. So in today's video, what we're gonna be doing is ranking each and every gun in Warzone, besides like pistols, launchers, melees, and just random things like that. And then towards the end of the video, we're gonna be making a class setup for each and every like Warzone meta weapon. So stick around for that, man. And also shout out to J God. He is the one that made this little tier list ranking system. So shout out to him. That man's the GOAT. Man, let's just get into it. So the way I'm gonna be ranking the guns are based off Warzone meta right here. Top tier viable, which are guns that are really good, just not meta. And then just like viable, which guns are just like right in the middle. They're not really good and they're not really bad. And then we have guns that I would not recommend you guys to use, or just trash weapons at the bottom. So I think that's about it, man. Let's get into it. So we got the Odin to start. The Odin is a very viable gun. Would I recommend you guys to run it with every other weapon that's in the game right now? I'm gonna say I would not recommend, but it's still a pretty viable weapon. AN94 would not recommend. Let me just say this right now. There's gonna be a lot of guns that are gonna be put in the would not recommend. If skill-based matchmaking wasn't a thing, I would move a lot more guns in the viable section, but since it is, you're more than likely gonna be running against people that have DMRs, MAC-10s, FFARs, AMAX. Like, you're most likely running into people that have the best guns available. So running guns like the Odin and the AN94 just wouldn't be beneficial to you. So just keep that in mind as you see me ranking these guns. All right, moving up, we have the regular MP5, which is meta. The Vector, top tier, which is Car 98. That is for sure meta. Scar, would not recommend. MP7 is for sure top tier. It's nothing crazy, but it's up there. Then we have the 725. This thing is just, I don't know why that gun's even in the game. We have the FAMAS, trash. ISO, would not recommend. It's still a good gun, just wouldn't recommend it. We have the Uzi, would not recommend. The M16 is meta. It's starting to be meta. A lot of people are still asleep on the M16, but I think as we move into season 2, there's gonna be a lot more creators using the M16. Other than that, we have the Growl, which is viable. I would not say it's top tier just because the time to kill is just so slow on this gun, and it shoots pellets, I feel like. But it's definitely viable. It's a toss-up. It's either viable or top tier viable. But for me personally, I would just leave it in the viable section. We have the Kilo. That's just like the Growl pretty much. It's just viable. DMR is still meta. AX50 is viable for sure. We have the Finn LMG. Would I recommend this gun for you guys? No. Would I tell you? If you guys told me that you run that gun, would I be mad? Not really. It's a decent weapon. It's just not something I would recommend you guys to run. Just because of what I said in the beginning, like skill-based makes this game not enjoyable for the most part, because you have to run like the best weapons in the game, or else you're just not gonna have a good time. Moving on, we have the SPR. I would say it's viable. That's not a gun that I wouldn't recommend you guys to run because it's still pretty good. We have the Bullfrog. That thing is meta for sure. Ram 7 is top tier. It's not really meta because it's hard to use, but it's top tier. We have the Bison. I would not recommend you guys to run the Bison. Groza. Groza is top tier. That thing is easily top tier. A lot of people are still asleep on that gun, or maybe they just don't like it. But if the FFAR ever gets nerfed, that gun will be taking its place. So come season 2, that gun would be stepping up to Warzone meta if, like I said, they nerf the other weapon. We have the MW AUG. Would not recommend. Now, I'm gonna get a lot of flack in the comments for this. How I see it is, if you have the 9mm rounds in this gun, your time to kill is bad. If you want to increase your time to kill, you have to put the 5.56 rounds. And when you do that, you move so slow to where it's not even beneficial for you to even have the 5.56 rounds. Because at the end of the day, you have an SMG, not a AR, not an LMG, so it makes no sense for you to want to move that slow. Moving on, we have the Type 63. This is a gun that I haven't ran since the nerf, but if it's anything like the DMR, I would say it's viable still. I don't have experience with that, so I can't really say. As far as shotguns go, I would say for the most part, they're all trash. They're either trash or I just wouldn't recommend them. But just to save space in that would not recommend list, I'm gonna put it in trash. And that goes for damn near every shotgun, because if you're running up against like SMGs up close, you're gonna have a hard time winning those fights. All right, moving on, we have the M13. M13 is very much viable, but I would not recommend you guys to run that gun, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Striker would not recommend. Bruin is top tier easily. XM4 would not recommend. Still a good gun, just wouldn't recommend it. HDR is top tier. This thing is trash. I don't know the name of that gun. PKM is a really good gun, just wouldn't recommend it. I guess we could say it's vibe. Nah, I mean, if you guys told me you run the PKM, I wouldn't be mad, so I'm gonna leave it in viable. It's just the reload speed and the movement speed. ADS is just terrible. Holger is trash. You can't even put a barrel on that gun to increase bullet velocity, so we're gonna leave that thing right there. Tundra is viable. RPD. I'm gonna put would not recommend, honestly. AMAX, Warzone meta. S87 is a gun I would not recommend. Like I said, just because of the skill-based matchmaking. That gun is still really good. A lot of the guns in the would not recommend section are pretty good. But how skill-based is, it's just not realistic for you guys to run those weapons. AS Val is top tier. What is this? MWAK? I would put would not recommend. A really good gun. Just the recoil is so broken that it doesn't make sense to run it. If they fix that, then that gun is going to be moved up to top tier. But I doubt they'll fix that. They don't really care about a lot of the guns in the game. M4, top tier. Barrett, 50 cal is trash. Cold War MP5, really good. FAL. I don't have too much experience with this, so I'm going to just leave them the would not recommend. All right, next up we got the AK-74U. This is a gun that a lot of people like, and I don't get why. Like, I can name about 5 SMGs that are better than this gun. So for that reason, I will put it in just the viable section. I wouldn't recommend you guys to run it, but just to spare some feelings, I'm gonna put it in the viable section. From that, we have the Origin 12. Like I said, just to save some space, and I would not recommend. Put all shotguns in the trash section. All right, next up, man, we have the MG34. This gun has a really good time to kill, but with how the recoil and the reload speed and the ADS speed is, I'm gonna put it in trash. And that's pretty much it, man. AUG, I'll put in meta. FFAR is meta easily. Jack 12. Like I said, some shotguns are still in the would not recommend section, but I'm gonna just leave it in this section for now. Milano is trash. What is this? The M91? Would not recommend. Yeah, okay. Rogue. What is this? Regular AK? Or the Cold War AK? I'm gonna put in would not recommend. Recoil is just way too inconsistent. Stoner is top tier easily. Surprising. That gun is actually really good. Dragunov would not recommend. No, actually trash. What am I talking about? I think it goes in trash. EBR is trash. Street Sweeper is probably the only gun I would put in would not recommend. P90. P90 I wouldn't say it's top tier, but it's viable. P90 you can definitely get by in a Warzone match in like a diamond lobby with that gun. Krig 6 would not recommend. What is this, a Rytech? I wouldn't say it's trash, I just wouldn't recommend it. This Cold War LMG would not recommend. Pellington, I'm gonna leave the Pellington down here for now because I haven't had a class setup with this, or I haven't ran like a class setup with it. Pretty soon though I want to, so for now I'm gonna leave it right there. Ground loot gun is terrible, but I feel like if you have a loadout it might be a little bit better. QBZ would not recommend. KSP trash. So yeah, here goes my tier list. Let me know what you guys think about that. And now what we're gonna do is make a class setup for just the Warzone meta weapon. All right, so let's get into the class setups really quick. So we have is the AMAX to start. The AMAX, you're gonna find the same build amongst like every streamer that runs this gun. Actually, I think I have a blueprint saved already for it. Makes this a lot easier. So here goes a class setup for it right here. This is the only class setup you should have for this gun. This is it. Don't even question it. Don't do anything different. Just put this on right here. Other than that, what you can pair with this gun, so you don't want to have a pistol with this because you want to have something, you know, pretty good for your secondary. So you can pair with like a regular MP5. This is my build. I don't like having the green laser because it gets you killed more than you know. And then if you put a no stock on this, recoil is just, it bounces from left to right and it makes it hard to hit shots. But with that being said, this is my build. This is the build I would recommend for this gun. Or you can pair the AMAX with the Mac 10. Where's the Mac 10 at? With a build like this, I'll say with the Mac 10, do this. Task Force barrel, suppressor. I know a lot of people like the SAS combat stock, so I would do that. And then just to balance it, I would put that on. Because if you notice here, you lose hipfire accuracy. So just to gain some of that back, get that. Because the underbarrels don't really make a difference for Cold War SMGs. That and also rear grips don't help either. So, and the next step we have is the Kar 98. I'm not really much of a sniper, but let me know what you guys think about this class setup right here. This is what I would run for the Kar 98, or maybe even taking off stipple grip and put on sleight of hand. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. For a secondary for this, I would put the Bullfrog. Where's the Bullfrog at? And now every Cold War SMG is gonna have the same build, for me, honestly. So this one's gonna be different just because I don't want to lose my ADSB by putting on this one, the 85 round. I feel like 65 rounds is more than enough. So this is a good build right here. Sniper primary, Bullfrog secondary. Obviously though, when you run a sniper, you want to have amped on, just because it'll help you out swapping guns whenever you need to. All right, moving on from that, we have the AUG. So with the AUG, for that barrel on, I think Strike Team is the best one for this gun now. Bruiser grip. I know people like to run the 54 round mag, but for this video, man, we're just about to throw it on. Lastly, we're gonna have a 3X. 3X for the AUG and M16 always. Secondary for this, you can either have this Bullfrog build, you can have the MP5 build I just showed you. Just to use a gun that we haven't used yet. Throw this on. Like I said, every build is gonna be just about the same for Cold War SMG. So here goes the secondary for the AUG. So for the DMR, where's that thing even at? I think it's still the same build that everybody runs. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have not ran this gun for a while, but I think the build is still the same. And when I use this gun, this was the build I had. Things might have changed since the nerf, but I think this is still the same. That's what everybody's running. Secondary to this is the complete sweat class right here. This is what all the sweaty players are running right now. SAS combat stock. Honestly, I think they had the regular 50 round mag. It's either 50 round fast or 50 round regular, but this is a class setup right here for the DMR. They will pair the DMR with the FFAR. Honestly, I might make a video on this loadout soon too. And then lastly, we have the M16. This is my build for the M16. This is a gun I run damn near every day. There goes the primary setup, and here goes the secondary setup for that. So yeah, man, that's my Warzone tier list. Let me know what you guys think about that. My class setups as well for those best guns. So if you guys found anything helpful in this video, man, subscribe, drop a like, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.